Alright, hi everybody, I'm Jared,
I'm Naya.
and we're going to be teaching you guys how to solve triangles today. So, there are two formulas that we want to go over. There's the law of sine, and then there's the law of cosine. So, the law of sine is the sine of angle A over the side length A is equal to the sine of B over the side of B, and the sine of angle C over the side of C. So you use this formula when you are solving for a side-side angle triangle, an angle-angle-side triangle, and an angle-side-angle triangle.
Next is the law of cosine, which is b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times cosine of b, angle B. Use this when solving for a side angle side and a side triangle.
Okay, so now that we know those two formulas, we can use them to solve this problem. Jared and I are meeting Mr. Hickson at his favorite steakhouse for dinner. The steakhouse has a bearing of 20 degrees and is 12 miles away from Naya's house. Naya lives on a street running east to west, which is 7 miles west of Jared's house. So part A says solve the triangle, and part B says if Naya has to pick up Jared, how long will she have to travel to get to the steakhouse?
The first step is to find the angle of n from the bearing that they give you. So since the bearing from north is 20 degrees, then the angle n would be 70 degrees. This is essential to go on to the next step. Then we use the law of cosine, which is, as we went over before, b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. We plug in a and c, which in this case are the two side lengths we have, 7 and 12 miles. So we plug those in, and then we plug in the cosine of b, which is 70. And we're trying to find b, which would be, in this case, the length from Jared's house to the steakhouse. So if we solve those through, square both of these, and multiply this through, and then we would square root both sides, we end up with 11.64 miles.
So after using the law of cosine, we're now going to use the law of sine. So we're going to use the law of sine in order to find either angle S or angle J. However, in this particular problem, because the corresponding side length to angle S is 7 miles, we know that that is the smallest angle because that's the smallest side length, because 7 is smaller than both 12 and 11.64. So the formula for law of sine again is sine of angle A over A is equal to sine of angle B over B, which is also equal to sine of angle C over C. Now, although these variables don't really match up with these, it still works because as long as you're using the sine of angle S over the side length of angle S, it'll still work out. And same thing goes for N and J for B and C. So to start out, we're going to take sine of angle S over 7 miles, which we have right here, and we're going to set that equal to the sine of angle 70 over 11.64, which we see right here. So we're then going to solve for sine of angle S. So we're going to divide sine of angle 70 by 11.64, and then we're going to multiply by 7. So after we do that, we get the sine of angle S is equal to 0.565. But then in order to find the actual angle of S, we're going to take the inverse sine of 0.565, which then gives us 34.4.
Now that we know both angle N and angle S, we can find angle J by subtracting the two angles by 180. This prevents us from mistaking angle J for an obtuse angle. So when you subtract 70 and 34.4 from 180, you find that the angle J is 75.6 degrees. So once we have this angle, means we've successfully solved the whole triangle and completed part A.
So now that we've completed part A, time to move on to part B. So if Nya picks up Jared, how far does she travel to the steakhouse? So Nya to Jared is 7 miles, and then Jared to the steakhouse is 11.64 miles. So we're just going to take 7 miles plus 11.64 miles equals 18.64 miles. So Nya travels 18.64 miles to get to the steakhouse to meet Mr. Hickson.